because there are people who are also online, and I'm just going to give a very brief introduction. So I think I've met everyone here. I'm not going to introduce myself. And you might think that we're going to talk about health AI today. Maybe not, at least not in the way you're thinking about, oh, there's more people coming in. Um, we're here to talk about us, to talk about our future and what we need to do to prepare for what's coming. And I almost always start with Richard Feynman's first principle as a preamble. For those who do not know, he's a physicist, but he has been shaping the way we do research. And one of his quotes that is one of our favorites is, the easiest person to fool is yourself. And we think that this is something that we should think about every day, that we might be fooling ourselves. And this is more likely to happen if we stay within our echo chambers. And we have here an echo chamber. We're writing a paper saying that not all echo chambers are actually bad. Some might be good if within the echo chamber we're all sort of pushing each other to reflect, to reimagine. So we said that this day-to-day is not about health AI. It's about us, about our future. And I keep harping that what we have been doing on a day-to-day in the last year is probably not going to prepare us for what's coming next. So when I talk to the students, your future is not about your homework, your exam, your grades. These are the roads that everyone takes, but the first question is, where do those roads lead? And we all know the capabilities of AI, recognizing patterns, writing essays, synthesizing knowledge, translating languages. These were supposed to be our superpowers in the past. But now someone else has taken over, something else has taken over these capabilities. So what's left for us? What's left for us is everything that matters. And these are the skills, these are the competencies that we would like the next generation to have. And this include, these competencies are best gained, best polished with this task: reflection, questioning, and imagination. Because at present and in the future, machines won't be able to do this. They might give you the perception that they are reflecting, they are questioning, they are imagining, when in fact, they're not. It's all a facade, it's all a mirage. So what do we recommend our students? We tell them to bathe in difference. They need to be thinking of new skills, new agency. And how do you do that? You talk to people outside your circle. You talk at the edges of your groups. And then we need to all develop different ways of seeing, not just STEM, but we need to learn more about philosophy, about faith, about history, about art. And then you also need to be aware that we live within our own epistemologies, and we need to start understanding other epistemologies. So, for example, you ask, well, how does a farmer know what she knows? How does a nurse know what she knows? So these are the things that are important in order to discover new agencies that we don't know quite yet what those might look like. As you also would have known by now, we are very much big fans of Donna Haraway, situating knowledge, because AI is giving us knowledge in our pockets. It's giving us an oracle. But if you don't know where that knowledge comes from, what was the agenda behind that knowledge being formed, then Donna Haraway would say that knowledge is of no value to you. It might actually even be harmful. And so what we are promoting now, and I hope that you help me in promoting this, is that we push for people to use AI not individually, but as a group of people who don't think alike, group of people with different epistemologies. Because all you can do is to check whether the reference exists. But hallucinations are the least of our concerns. Our concern is, can we situate this knowledge? And by yourself within a small group, you cannot do that. It's just impossible for you to truly understand what was the motivation behind this knowledge. So I mentioned earlier that we're being given an oracle in our pocket, and AI makes it extremely easy for us to overestimate our capabilities. We've seen the unleashing of the Dunning-Kruger effect on social media, on LinkedIn. So Dunning-Kruger, these are two, I believe, psychologists, and they did this experiment where they gave an exam to students and they asked the students to quantify their certainty. And the students who are the least competent are the ones who overestimated their competence. The story that I usually give, and I'm just gonna narrate some stories because I love storytelling, is that of MacArthur Wheeler. So MacArthur Wheeler was he is a middle-aged white man. He robbed two banks in Pittsburgh in broad daylight in 1995. And he didn't wear a disguise. Wasn't wearing a mask. He even waved at the security camera on his way out. So that evening, he was picked up by the police. And he was so shocked. He kept mumbling, "But I wore the juice. I wore the juice." And the police couldn't figure out what he was talking about. But it turned out that he did his research. And he found out that invisible ink is made of lemon juice. So he rubbed lemon juice all over his body. And then the rumor is that he took a selfie. Back then, we had Polaroid cameras. And he was squinting so much because of the lemon juice that he didn't notice that he took a picture of the wall behind him. And he was fully convinced that he was invisible. So the cops thought that he was on drugs, he was drunk. They tested him for alcohol, they tested him for cocaine, for psychedelics. It turned out that he wasn't drunk, he wasn't high, he was just incredibly mistaken. And sometimes, again, you don't know when you're wrong. And to me, if there's something that you will take away from here, is to truly, hopefully, make you understand, embracing that we don't know what we don't know. We think that it's ridiculous to put confidence bounds in your models because the uncertainty of the models is infinite. You cannot bound it. Okay, we are at Stanford. I spent 50% of my time at MIT, and we are the hotbed for techno-solutionism. And the new term is techno-chauvinism. And this is the belief that technology is always the best solution to any problem, that technology-based solutions are better than people-based solutions. And we're here to prove that wrong. Every year, in every hackathon that's healthcare focused, there's a team that would build a blood sugar monitor for rural communities. Every year they fail, not because of engineering, because of everything else, from healthcare fragmentation, political economy, misaligned incentives, infrastructure gaps, community trust, and who profits. And no one talks about those. No one talks about political economy when you go to MIT Hacking Medicine, which, by the way, I just accepted an invitation to keynote that one. But, but I'm gonna talk about this during it's a MIT Hacking Medicine Thailand in October. So I did this as well in where was I? Somewhere where I said that we are not here to solve problems. We are here to reflect on exactly what questions do we need to address, and more importantly, who should be at the table when we're choosing a question to address. I always ask are you addressing a problem or are you addressing a symptom of a problem? And I think I mentioned this yesterday. If you're addressing a symptom of a problem, what you're doing is you're giving Tylenol to someone with a cancer that's spreading. The pain is going to be gone for a couple of hours, but it will come back even stronger. And unless you start giving chemotherapy to the cancer, it's not going to work. The other thing that you need to remember is even if you're addressing the root of the problem, this problem is probably intricately connected to a lot of other problems, which makes this very daunting, even paralyzing. So what we really need to do would be a startup community where different startups are attacking weak points of the healthcare system all at once until it breaks. But right now, they're all competing. They're all doing the same shit. Yes, I'm going to cuss again today, as in yesterday. And that needs to be completely disrupted. So the problems are interconnected. And if you're just monitoring the blood sugar continuously in a diabetic patient in some remote village, it's not going to work. So I keep saying we need to have everyone in colleges, universities, even high school take a course on political economy, because this is the biggest threat to disruptive innovation. And they need to reflect who profits from the current system, who loses if your innovation succeeds. I keep saying that you need to think about whose jobs will be not replaced. I was told that that's not a correct word. Which jobs need to be reimagined, because different people will have different capabilities of reimagination. And that was my takeaway message yesterday. Oh, yes, we need to reimagine our jobs, except that we have different agency to do that. Some people will be able to do that so much better. The people here will be able to reimagine their jobs, while the people outside won't. We are not against technology. What we don't want is technology without reflection, technology without reimagination, technology without asking who is at the table. So who is usually at the table in hackathons and datathons? Engineers, investors, sometimes government officials, professors. Who should be there? Patients, and I don't think we have a lot of them here. Community leaders, youth, I think we have some youth here. And artists. I think we have some artists too. So I'm not gonna belabor this slide. I'm hoping that you are aware of this, but most of the time we have to present this in AI conferences and they are shocked. Some of them have heard it, but really ignored it. So I just wanted to point out some very jolting statistics that the carbon dioxide production of, I believe this is one, I have to double check, is equivalent to New York City's emission. And this is like OpenAI or Google or something like that. Then the other thing that we have been thinking about, and this should segue into the panel, is that the classroom cannot keep up. AI is moving at the speed of light, while curricula move at the speed of bureaucracy. Do not expect your professors to know, to teach you how to use AI, because we are in the same footing here. We don't know. And we just need to accept that we have to do this together. We have to learn from each other. I tell this story every once in a while. I was giving a talk to first-year medical students, and they were rightfully, appropriately woken up, fired up. And they were asking, so what do we need to do to prepare for the future? And I said, if I have to tell you what you need to do to prepare for the future, you're not preparing. We need to do this together. Again, the professors will not tell you how to prepare for the future. But these are some advice. I said earlier, talk at the edges, seek out people who don't think like you, regularly speak with them. I've been very critical of labs where all the students are pulmonary critical care fellows or medical students. The professor is a pulmonary critical care attending. You won't solve any problem. You're going to see it from the same lens. So if you're going to do that, at least regularly talk to an anthropology lab, talk to a linguistics lab, talk to an indigenous group, because that would allow you to really be able to appreciate the complexity and the nuance of the issues that you're trying to address. Embrace the madrugada. So madrugada is the time at dawn where it's darkest and the light is about to shine. And it's scary because you don't know what's about to happen. But most of the time, we know as well that the light will shine, the sun would shine at some point. So we learned this from our indigenous colleagues. Embrace the mystery. It's okay not to know what success looks like a year from now or 2 years from now. As long as you focus on the day to day, your North Star is not some KPI or not some health outcomes in the future. Your North Star is on the day to day where you're talking at the edges. You're bringing in more people, especially those whose voices are historically muted, listening to them, giving them podium, giving them the microscope, giving them the slingshot. So we have talked before that we need 6 tools so that we prepare ourselves for the future. The first is a mirror. You need to reflect on our values. You need to reflect on our epistemologies. The next one is a flashlight. We need to shine a light at all the systems that bathe us. The next is a microscope. You need to put those systems and understand their strengths, understand their weaknesses. The fifth one is what we love. It's a paintbrush. We need to reimagine. If we have a clean slate, what would academia look like? What would scientific publishing look like? And then the fifth is a podium. We need to give podia, especially to the global south, to communities. We need to hear their stories, because if we don't hear the stories, we will not learn from our mistakes. We will not learn about success stories. And finally, the most powerful of the 6 tools is the slingshot, which represents David and Goliath, because power structures are our biggest enemy. You need to understand the risk of not taking risks. By playing it safe, you arrive at the next stage, with precisely the skills that AI has already made redundant. So just attending your classes, submitting to NeurIPS, I know that the deadline is looming. It's not going to prepare you for the future, because your submissions are it's easy for AI to put together. We're nearing the end. This is not a revolution of technology. It's a revolution of mindset, and it begins with waking up from a trance. And it's your job to wake up the people around you whose heads are stuck under the sand. And they're not aware that there's a war going on and we're not winning it. The tech bros are winning the war right now. So, second to the last slide, I'm going to quote Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path, and leave a trail." And this is why this presentation is entitled "Go into the Bushes." So thank you very much. That's maraming salamat. And from here on, go into the bushes. So I think we're going to take this outside and be more cozy and reinvigorate dance. Go.